The X Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Hello, X Zone Nation. This is William Gladstone, author of The 12 at www.12thebook.com, and you're watching and listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone, heard and watched around the world and across the universe at www.xzoneradiotv.com. Enjoy, and if you get a chance, please go and check out at www.12thebook.com the novel The 12. Enjoy your day.
Go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it.
Do you hear what I hear? Say the little lamb to the shepherd boy. Do you hear what I hear? What I hear? Through the night, shepherd boy. Do you hear what I hear? What I hear? A song high up.
StarChild skull. The StarChild skull is a real, true bone skull that was found in Mexico around the Copper Canyon area about 1930. Carbon-14 analysis has shown that it died about 900 years ago. As you can see, it is very different in shape from a typical human skull. But over the last 10 years with the StarChild project, we've had dozens of experts examine it, and they can come up with no kind of typical human deformity that matches all of the unusual things about this skull. Its unusual physiology begins with the bone itself. It's uniformly half as thick as normal human bone, and it weighs half as much. It's very light by comparison, and yet it's 2 or 3 times as hard. It's extremely durable. We think some of that durability comes from very unusual fibers woven through the matrix of the bone, never seen in any other animal of any kind. There's also a red residue found in the bone in the cancellous holes that is also very unlike any other bone that is known. So,
welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-800-610-7035 is our toll-free number around the world. My email is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, the new address, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. You were listening to my good friend Lloyd Pye talk about the StarChild skull. Now, the StarChild skull has been a topic of controversy within the ET UFO field for many years. One of the people who has done his very best over the years to try and get a scientific study of the StarChild skull is my guest this hour, Lloyd Pye. He has 2 websites. We're going to be talking to Lloyd about the StarChild project, and that's www.starchildproject.com. And his website, his personal website, X Zone Nation, is www.LLOYDPye.com. That's LLOYDPYE.com. And Lloyd, old friend, welcome back to the X Zone. How are you?
Well, thank you, Rob, and it's good to be back, and I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
This is Corey White, Associate Producer of the X-Zone Radio Show on the Talkstar Radio Network, wishing you, Rob, and the entire X-Zone Nation a very Merry Christmas.
Of a place I love even more than I usually do. And although I know it's a long road back, I promise you
Lloyd Pye is my special guest, X-Zone Nation. And his website is www.starchildproject.com, and his personal site is lloydpye.com. Lloyd, for the listeners who may be out there who have no idea what StarChild is, can you give us a bit of a background?
Well, the StarChild is a real true bone skull that was found in Mexico about 1930. It was kept as simply a deformed human by the person that found it. When she died, she passed it on as that. The people who received it as that. Then another couple came into ownership of it in late 1998 rather, and they happened to be unique in that the wife was a neonatal nurse. She knew right away that it wasn't a typical human deformity because it was too light and it was too symmetrical, and they also were members of El Paso's MUFON, Mutual UFO Network. So they knew enough about it to know that the skull looked very, very similar to what one would imagine the skull of a gray alien would look like. So combining those two things, they wanted an answer. They thought that it might well be the skull of a gray. And when they showed it to me and asked me to take charge of determining that, I agreed that it was highly unusual, but I also felt it was almost, like 80% certain that it would be a deformity of some kind that we just didn't know about, but that specialists would know about. But over the year 1999, as I took it to experts and got their opinions about it, nobody could find anything close to a series of deformities that would add up to what the StarChild was, because every single part of its physiology was different from human. There was not a thing about it where you could say, okay, this is exactly like a human. Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. No part of it. So at the end of that year, we knew that we had something that was completely physiologically different, but science wouldn't accept that as they just said nature can do that. Nature can do anything. So we were really hamstrung at that point, and it came down to DNA. So I spent years trying to get a proper DNA test lined up, and finally did that in 2003. And the result of that was that it had a human mother and a non-human father. But what we couldn't prove in 2003 was how far away the father was from human. So again, scientists thwarted us from being able to say, this is an alien-human hybrid, because we couldn't say for sure how far away it was. Now there is a test available from a company called 454 Life Sciences that would allow us to run a DNA test that would determine with great precision how far away from human the StarChild is. And we're talking percentage points away from human. And so we're going to win this finally. We know that we will. We know that it's going to be a significant difference away from humans simply because of all the physiological differences. So we're in the catbird seat, Rob. But we need an awful lot of money. That's a very expensive test, about $250,000 for both the testing and the analysis of the results. It has to be done to compare all of its base pairs to a chimp and to a gorilla and to a Neanderthal. We should have that completed by then. So a lot to do. It's very expensive. The whole process has to be filmed, but that's another $250,000. So we're talking about a good size investment, but a tremendous reward, making history as big as history can be made. So it's pretty exciting.
What would happen, Lloyd, if after the exams, after all the tests, after all the hard work that you've put in over these years and the amount of media that you've tried to get for this, the amount of scientific acknowledgement and recognition as well as testing that you've tried to get for the StarChild, it turns out to be a deformed human?
Well, it just, it isn't. I mean, I understand people ask me that all the time. Well, what are you going to do if you're wrong?
Yeah.
And all I keep saying is there's just no way. I'm not wrong. If I was wrong, it would have shown up in the DNA testing of 2003. Remember, we found that the mother was human through the mitochondrial DNA.
Mm-hmm.
In 6 attempts, we could not recover its nuclear DNA. Now we know its mother is human.
Yeah.
So there's nothing stopping the recovery of the nuclear DNA except the father not being human.
Now,
It's
Lloyd, I
only possible
I remember you being on the show a number of years ago, and you were telling me about how the Russians were using Bigfoot, and that the Russian men would have sex with the Bigfoot. Now,
Right.
what happens if this is a case of a human who was raped or had consensual sex with a primate?
Well, it couldn't be that because, number one, there's nothing primate about the skull. Not only is there nothing human about the skull, about the StarChild skull, there's nothing primate about it either. Now, as far as the instances of Xana, the Russian hominoid Alma type, having sex with humans, she had sex over a period of 40 years, and she got pregnant 8 times. She had 4 children, 4 that lived out of those 8. So while it can happen, but only with the Almas, because it looks like the Almas were the quote, and this is getting off into things that the audience is not going to understand, but if you believe what I believe, which is the intervention theory that humans are here because of alien intervention, that all of domesticated plants and animals are here because of alien intervention, and that as they were creating us, they say in their writings in the Sumerian text that they used a, quote, creature of earth as the genetic base, to which they added the great majority of the DNA, their own, and it was done in a, quote, house of fashioning, which we take to be a genetics lab. The StarChild has so little human, no human really physically visible in it, except for its mitochondrial DNA. And that is exactly what you would expect if a human egg was used as a vessel for a human hybrid offspring that was created in a lab, in which you have a, let's say, 90% father, 10% mother, or 95% father, 5% mother, which you can do genetically if you know what you're doing, and we do things like that right now. So that's what the StarChild is. It's not a hybrid where it's the result of a sexual union between 2 different species, but close enough to make a match, as in the case of Xana and humans.
All right, now Lloyd, I just had a thought here, and I hope you forgive me for interrupting you.
Sure, go ahead.
Have there been any other skeletal remains found like the StarChild anywhere on this planet? Because if it's alien, wouldn't there be sisters or brothers or other skeletons that are like and have the same consistency and makeup of StarChild?
Well, it's quite possible, but so far as anybody knows, they've never been found. I get probably every weird skull there is sent to me, and over the last 11 years, I've seen a whole lot of them, but none of them look like the StarChild that I'm aware of. Now, that's not to say that one's not out there or hidden away in a museum file somewhere because it's so weird and they figured, it's just a deformity.
Sure.
Let's not bother with it. If the StarChild, when we get the StarChild being well known, well accepted, known everywhere, probably in some museum somewhere, somebody's going to say, we got one that looks kind of like that. Let's, and some old worker might remember it or something.
Now, there's a question for you.
Happen.
There's a question. Have you contacted all the museums, sent them pictures and profiles of StarChild to see if they have anything in their museum or in their archives that resemble what you have?
No, have not done that.
Wouldn't that be
have counted on television appearances and television shows to do that. We've been on National Geographic.
That's not going to work, friend. That's not going to work. That is not going to work. You have to send the information to the museums, and I would have thought.
Well, you know what? I've tried in trying to contact anything mainstream, Rob, and I've done this for quite a lot. Anytime you try to approach a mainstream anything, the first thing they say is when they hear the word StarChild or Weird Skull or anything like that, it's like, oh no, or who are you again? Oh, and then they check you out on Wikipedia. And I don't know if your audience is aware, but Wikipedia is dedicated to slamming and ridiculing and disparaging anybody that has anything to do with alternative knowledge. You can't trust a word Wikipedia says.
Geez, I don't know. They've given us a great write-up.
Oh, they've given us a horrible one. They've really given you a good write-up?
They
Wikipedia?
sure have. Yep.
No kidding. Well, most of the people that I know, and certainly me and the StarChild, have just been completely slammed and really. I'm surprised. I'll check out and see what they say about you. But for most people, Wikipedia is absolutely negative relative. But that's what happens. So you tell people who you are, what you have, and they go on Wikipedia and they see, oh, this is a hoax, this is a fraud, and we can't, we're not even going to bother. And they don't even return your call. They don't return your emails. It's a waste of time, really, when you come right down.
Lloyd, stand by, old friend. You and I have to take a commercial break with the news at the bottom of the hour. X Zone Nation, visit these two websites, StarChildProject.com. It's a great site, and I'm telling you, you can spend hours there, but after spending some time there, you'll understand Lloyd's frustration. And his other website, www.LLOYDPie.com. So that's StarChildProject.com and LLOYDPie.com. This is the X Zone, coming to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-800-610-7035 is now worldwide.
And although I know it's a long road back, I promise you I'll be home for Christmas.
Hello, X-Zone Nation. This is William Gladstone, author of The 12 at www.12thebook.com, and you're watching and listening to Rob McConnell in the X-Zone, heard and watched around the world and across the universe at www.xzoneradiotv.com. Enjoy, and if you get a chance, please go and check out at www.12thebook.com the novel The 12. Enjoy your day.
Go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splenda, and you're listening to my dad, Rob McConnell, on the X Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell. Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro4U, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Greeting cards have all been sent. The Christmas rush is through. But I still have one wish to make, a special one for you. Merry Christmas, darling. We're apart, that's true. But I can dream, and in my dreams I'm Christmasing with you.
Lloyd Pye is my special guest this hour. X-Zone Nation, www.starchildproject.com and LLOYDPie.com. We're talking about the StarChild. What do we call it? StarChild skull. How do you talk to people about it?
Well, I call it that, although it was a mistake looking back on it. If there's one thing I wish I had to do over, it was naming it the StarChild, because that automatically slants it in the direction of what we believe, and according to science, you can't do that. You have to have just some neutral thing that doesn't put any connotation on it. Mm-hmm. So, unfortunately, it has the name StarChild, and as soon as anybody from the mainstream hears that, they run the other way screaming and tearing their hair out because they can't be, associated with anything to do with UFOs or aliens, or their peers won't take them seriously. So, it's a real problem, notwithstanding the fact that initially we thought it was the child, and we have found out subsequently that it was we don't know how old it was, but it was a fully grown adult, and just one of the early mistakes. That was one of the policies that we had from the very beginning, is we were going to just tell the truth all the time, whatever the testing said, whenever the testing said it, not hold things back, just put it out there and let the chips fall where they may. And here, like I said, here I am 11 years later, having followed that policy the whole way, having made mistakes. Obviously, there's no roadmap for something like this. But in the end, the bottom line is that this thing is a human-alien hybrid, and we have we're in the position to be able to prove that beyond any shadow of scientific doubt. All we need is to find, the deep pockets.
But wait a sec. Hold on here. You just said that you're in possession of a human-alien hybrid, and you can prove that.
Absolutely.
So how can you say unequivocally, Lloyd, that you have an alien-human hybrid if it hasn't been authenticated and verified as such?
Well, it has been. That's the whole point. In 2003, that's the result that we got from the DNA testing that we had done then.
But wait a sec. If my memory serves me correctly, with what we were saying in the past hour, was that its mother was human. The identity or origin of its father was not identified yet.
Right. Well, it's not human. It's not primate. So what does that leave? I mean, it isn't going to be dog. It isn't going to be rabbit.
But you still can't.
Not here. It's alien.
You cannot say, all right, it may be alien to this planet or to our species, but we don't know for a fact that it's not from this planet, and we don't know for a fact that if in fact it is alien from another world.
Well, okay. That is what we're intending to prove, or want to prove, or will prove that it isn't from this planet, because the DNA as it unfolds, that's the beauty of the 454 life science technology, which is the technology that we need. It allows for the recovery of the entire genome of an unknown species. And when I say the entire genome, that means in the case of a human, all 3 billion base pairs. Now, we and chimps and gorillas all have roughly the same 3 billion base pairs. It's turning out that a Neanderthal, for reasons that have not been explained yet, has substantially more base pairs and a substantially larger genome than we have, which is a bit of a mystery right now how they're going to explain that. But the bottom line is, whatever the StarChild has, it's going to have, it may have 2 billion, it may have 3 billion, it may have 5 billion, whatever it has, the technology is available to recover all or most of it. And so that's what we intend to do. And I'm telling you that based on what we know now from the physiological differences, which are very, very consistently opposite from human, and from the DNA test that we had done that indicates that while this creature, whatever it was, came from and was born from an egg of a human being, gestated in a human being, birthed from a human being, what was inside that egg was not human. And so that can't be anything other than genetic engineering. Now, you can't tell me, a monkey or a rabbit or anything else could have genetically, only an alien could do that, an alien as we define an alien. So I'm able to say, I think, with a great deal of certainty, that it's going to be a human-alien hybrid. Now, saying it to the level that I can prove it in a court of law, which I can do now, is not able to prove it in the court of public opinion because science absolutely has a stranglehold on the court of public opinion because of their stranglehold on the mainstream media. So we can't really get mainstream media attention. I'll tell you a quick story. We had an article lined up in the Daily Mail in England when I was in Europe speaking earlier this year. The Daily Mail is the largest paper in England. 3 million copies bought every day, 6 million readers every day on average. Okay, so the Daily Mail, they're all excited. It's wonderful. They've assigned one of their top science writers, a PhD in biochemistry, to do the report so he would understand the DNA and all of that. He turns in his article. It's supposed to be published on a Wednesday. It's turned in on Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock before the deadline. Everything is fine up to that point till he turned the story in. And when he turned the story in, which was quite complimentary in saying, I can't find any holes here, suddenly the Daily Mail did not publish it, and we had to apply pressure on them to allow it ultimately to be published just on a website there in England, but it never was in the newspaper so that 6 million people could read it. Somebody spiked that story. Somebody is making this information difficult for me to get out there. That's what I'm up against because I think they know what it is.
If this was such a threat to the scientific community, and if the scientific community has taken no interest in it because they really don't want to, if it was in fact something from another world, and if it was something in fact that was a threat to them, wouldn't they want to have it examined so that they could bury the skull once and for all?
Well, they certainly, I think, would try their very best to denigrate whatever results that we got. But I think what happened, Rob, was it got away back in 1999 when there was no hope on any horizon of being able to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. There was no 454 life science. There was no recovery of entire genomes. So if based on what they had to make a decision at that time, they could let it go because there was no way I was going to prove it beyond a scientific doubt by simply physiological comparison, which is all that we had at that time. And then later with the DNA testing using primers, there was no way I could do it. There was no way to prove it so that no scientist could squawk about it, so that I could cram it down all of their throats and they'd have to smile. That is what can happen now with the 454 technology. Nobody at that time could have conceived it, and now it's too late. Everybody knows, well, not everybody, but millions of people know the StarChild's out there. We've secured different pieces of the bone in different places with different people, and they don't know each other. So if they try to take it, anything from anybody, everybody else goes on alert. You see what I mean? So I think we've pretty much got them. It's just they can slow us down, which they're doing. They're doing everything they can to slow us down. They can't really stop us, because ultimately some person that they can't get to or can't turn around is going to put up the money. And when we put up the money, we will then get our answer, and if we're able to film it and all that, we'll make sure that there's no hanky-panky done to switch things around and make it come out human, and we'll be in good shape. We have this in the bag if we can just get the help that we need to clear that final hurdle. We got it made.
With millions of people around the world wanting to know the answer, why can't those millions of people each pass in $1 and get the answers that everyone is seeking?
Well, because people, you'd think that would work, but
no,
it doesn't.
I think so. Yeah.
You put out pleas for that, and people don't respond. I think everybody, they know, to say they know about it, to know about the StarChild, and to say they believe what I believe about it and what those of us, on the inside who've really studied it believe about it, are two different things. I've published an ebook about it. You might as well mention this to your audience. If you go on the StarChild site, you'll see an ebook, Lloyd Pye's StarChild Skull Essentials. Now, there is a book. There's a real book, a full book, the StarChild Skull. You can read if you want to. But the ebook has all of the facts stacked up high and tight like cordwood. It's just fact after fact after fact after fact. Anybody that reads that, even a skeptic, is going to know this thing can't be human. I mean, there's just no way this is a deformity. They may not be willing to go so far as to accept it as a human-alien hybrid, although there's no other option. There's no other answer. That is what it is. Take you about an hour to read it, and you're done. I mean, you know what this thing is about, and you can talk about it intelligently if you read the ebook. That's what I would recommend to anybody that has any doubts about it. That what I'm saying is 100% true, because it is. Just simply read the ebook. It's all right there, piled up for you.
Okay, you've got a great website. You've got morphing animation. You've got YouTube. So you've got videos. You've got the entire 9 yards at www.starchildproject.com. It surprises me that mainstream media, the scientific community, as well as the scholar community, have not gone there, looked it over, and sent you an email saying, you know what? This is what that is.
Well, this is what everybody says, Rob. They say, well, look, if what you have is real, if what you're saying is true, science would be all over it. The media would be all over it. No, they wouldn't. That's what I thought. They wouldn't. It's been there for years. I've been trying for years. Larry King has people on his show all the time talking about UFOs. Stan Friedman all the time, regularly. James Fox with his films and all. Does he ever call me? No. Do I try to get in touch with him? Yes. Do they ever answer my emails? No. Ellen DeGeneres. She's another show where she'll have unusual people on there.
This is what we'd like to do.
Ellen DeGeneres is from New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans. Can I get through to Ellen DeGeneres' people? No. Can I get through to Oprah? No.
This is what we'd like to do. This is what we'd like to do. We'd like to take your StarChild information and, using our resources, see if we can get scientists, museums, and the media interested, if you're willing to.
Look, I invite you to try. All I get is, if it was real, we'd already know about it. If this guy was legitimate, we'd already know about it. That's their answer to me time and time again.
All right. We're going to do that. And whatever responses we get...
to try.
Hey, listen, nothing gained, nothing lost, right?
Absolutely.
And what we will do is we will make sure that you get every ounce of reply that we get. And what we'll also do is we'll put up a special StarChild website on XZoneRadioTV.com, and we'll also post who we've sent it to, what their response has been, and we'll let these people know that, hey, we want answers. And if you're not going to give them to us one way, we'll get them another.
There you go. Look, whatever you want to do, I'm all for it. We've tried every way we can think of, and just been turned at every, and also there are famous people out there that are UFO-oriented, Steven Spielberg, people like that. They pay people their job is to deflect people like me from getting through to them. So if anybody listening knows how to get with any of those celebrities that have high profiles and are interested in this kind of thing, by all means, let them know. I got through to Dan Aykroyd. Who more than him? Got right through to his secretary. She happened. I spoke at a lecture, and his secretary was sitting there, and she came up and she told me she went to him. No, I didn't want to do it. It's unbelievable to me that so many people are out there and who profess interest and desire to have this done, but when it comes right down to something like this, where the rubber really does meet the road, you would be surprised at how scared they get, and they back off and they crawfish out and they don't want anything to do with it, because it is a scary thing to be involved in the changing of history at a level that this has the potential to do.
Well, we'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do with our clout that we've gathered over the last 19 years of doing this show. Got to take our commercial break. We'll be back on the other side as we continue talking to Lloyd Pye. The websites are www.starchildproject.com and LLOYDPie.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone.
In my dreams, I'm Christmasing with you. Holidays are joyful. There's always something new.
Hey, maybe I'll dye my hair. Maybe I'll move somewhere. Maybe I'll get a car. Maybe I'll drive so far they'll all lose track. Me, I'll bounce right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Lloyd Pye is our special guest. StarChildProject.com and LLOYDPie.com. First of all, Lloyd, it's always great having you on the show. Man, you know, like, you're one of the hardest working guys that I know in this genre, who has something that they believe to be out of this world, and it seems that you're getting blocked at every corner that you turn, and I find it very frustrating for you, and this is why we're willing to do whatever we can to help.
Well, listen, I appreciate it very much, and I think that's why I'm frustrated and thwarted at every turn, is because it is the real thing, and I think people know that. And when they see it and deal with it and understand it, it's like, you would think everybody would want to jump on the bandwagon and be a part of it. But when they think about it, I guess in their heart of hearts, late at night, whatever, it's like it's just too scary. The potential for change is so dramatic and so overwhelming that they don't necessarily want to be involved in it. That's all I can think.
Lloyd, what would you like to leave our listeners with this evening, and what can they do as individuals around the world to help?
Well, to help more than anything is just educate yourselves about the Star Child. Go to the website. Please read, inform yourself. If you can, get the ebook or get the book. I would recommend the ebook just because it's simple and easy to get and read, and it gives you a full understanding, and that makes you the smartest person in the room when the subject of UFOs and aliens comes up. And you may know somebody, you have a friend of a friend, who knows, there is a deep pocket person out there who will take this on as a challenge, as something that they want to have an answer to. They'll be able to invest the money as a business proposition. It's not just money down a rat hole. We'll turn it into a documentary film that will earn the money back. So it's a good deal, and I would urge any and everybody to take a close look at it, educate yourselves, and take it out into the world and help me, because I'm just one guy in a few radio shows and TV shows and magazines and books. It's not enough. I need help.
What we've got here from one of my producers is the website for people trying to help you out, Lloyd, with StarChild is xzoneradiotv.com/StarChild, and the email address is going to be starchild@xzoneradiotv.com. Thanks, guys. Lloyd, we'll do what we can. I can't make you any promises, but what I can promise you is that you've got the resources that we've amassed here over the last 19 years doing this show, and if you can't help a friend out, who can you help?
Absolutely, Rob. And listen, we've been at this for a long time together, you and I appreciate all the effort that you've made in my behalf over the years, and I will appreciate this too, and just, keep me posted on anything that comes your way.
I will, Lloyd. Thank you very much. And from our home to yours, first of all, give your wife my best wishes. I hope she's feeling better.
Thank you.
To you and your wife, your friends and associates, a very Merry Christmas and a happy healthy, prosperous, and spiritually filled New Year.
Same to everyone out there listening, and to you and yours.
Lloyd Pye, ladies and gentlemen, X-Zone Nation, www.starchildproject.com. That's starchildproject.com, and his website, lloydpye.com. Send me your opinions. What do you think the Star Child is? X-Zone at xzoneradiotv.com. I'll return on the other side of this commercial break with the news with James Goddard. And we're going to be asking some questions about Bob Cratchit and how to make yourself feel good just for one day. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. We're coming to you live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. X-Zone at xzoneradio.com, X-Zone at xzoneradio.com, and our new toll-free number, 1-800-610-7035. Don't go away. We'll be back after the news.